How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Taped Podcast, the most Z-list podcast in the world. We're your hosts, as always, myself, MickyT.
And me, Nostalgia.
And welcome to a brand new segment of the interviews, the on-taped interviews, the first one of 2022. And this one is a very exciting one because we brought back a friend of the channel. Last time he was around, he was on the Outcast Worst to Best, which was nearly a year ago, I'd say, I think. So it's been a while, but we're welcoming him back. Please welcome back Mr. BAZZREVIEWS.
Great to be here, guys. It's an honor. Appreciate it. Didn't think I'd be back, but hey, you know what? I'm glad you guys reached out to me. It's, again, great to be here, and really excited to see what you guys have for me.
Yeah, it's great to have you back. It's been a very long time, so it's great to do this finally.
Yeah, I know. It is. I think it has been almost been a year since we did the Outcast bit, but that was fun. It was just fun to go back to one of my favorite rap groups and kind of just talk about them with you guys. So yeah. It was a really great time. So I expect nothing less this time around.
Yeah, of course. So just right off the bat, first thing we're just gonna ask you is just tell us a bit about yourself and just tell us about your channel.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, hello. My name is William Bazzone. Everybody calls me Baz here in the industry. I'm a YouTuber. I talk about music. I review albums, interview musicians, other content creators, and I do video essays on all types of stuff in music. So I've had my channel for about a little over a year now, but I've had BAZZREVIEWS since 2018. It originally started as a blog where I was just, going to review albums and then it turned into this, so, then I got into interviewing and podcasting, and then just figured I would switch to YouTube last year, grow to a bigger audience, and it's gone better than I ever thought it would have.
Yeah, speaking of which, congratulations on hitting 500 subscribers today.
Huge,
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It was an exciting milestone. Honestly, if you'd told me just 2 years ago when I was going to make the switch, in 2020, I probably would not have believed you for a second that I would have had 500 subscribers this early on. So it's really an honor. I'm thankful for everybody that watches my videos. And, 500 might not seem like a lot, but, somebody kind of told me once, it's like, whatever number of listeners you have per month, whatever number of subscribers, if you had all those people in a room and you just got to shake their hands individually and say thank you, I think it would have much more of an impact. So no number is too small. I'm just really grateful for the audience that I have, and thank you to all you guys that watch my videos. I'm really thankful. I don't really have a lot to say about it, but or anything new, but I'm just trying my best to keep it real.
I mean, it's well deserved. You make great content. I love your content personally, so
thank you,
it's
man.
great to see that you hit this milestone. And while we're on the topic of milestones, just for the minute, what's your main ambition as a YouTuber, a critic, a journalist? What's your main ambition at the moment with what you're doing?
It's kind of weird because YouTube is not really, as of now, it's not like a career path for me. Right now, it's a hobby. It's something that I've always loved to do, and if it becomes work, then I don't really, I won't enjoy it as much, if it does maybe, get to a point where I have enough subscribers, I have income from it, then yeah, maybe I'd consider making it a full-time job. But realistically, I don't think that's going to happen. So while I have the time, resources, and privilege to do it, I just want to keep making stuff that I enjoy, and hopefully you guys enjoy it too. But, just in real life, I guess, not on the internet and whatever, just being able to write for the rest of my life, and I'll be a happy man. I don't really care what I do. If I could do arts and entertainment stuff, that would be great. But honestly, I love writing so much, I wouldn't really care where I did it.
Yeah.
Fair.
And I think that's just the main thing that drives me, say, doing this podcast as well as doing my own channel. I know I haven't posted in a while, but stay tuned. But I suppose just seeing it more as a hobby rather than if it starts feeling like a job, it'll just start getting kind of monotonous in a way, which is kind of where I was at, doing just plain album reviews and lists for a good while.
Right.
But I suppose just branching out into stuff that I feel more inclined that I would like to do would definitely just give me that extra boost to just keep making content. And I still like doing the podcast, so obviously that's a given. But getting my own channel back up and running is also one thing. I've lots of ideas that I want to get through, so one day I'll definitely get back on that grind. But for now, I'm just chilling,
Well, take the time you need. This year I'm kind of feeling the same boat as what you just brought up. It's like there's sort of this like, monotony to my work that last year, I kind of felt like because I was a new channel and whatever, I had to do so many videos per month and kind of just get my name out there and promote it really hard. And of course it paid off, but towards the end of the year, I was kind of telling myself, well, gosh, could I really do this for another year given what's going on in my life and whatever? So I kind of just had to be real with myself. It's like, do you really enjoy doing this? Yes, but is it really worth like, driving yourself insane over? I don't ever want it to become a job or something where I have to really like strain to do it. I want to do it because I love doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, while we're on the topic of just your channel, is there any like certain video topics that you think that are worth going over, like in the current, like say the current landscape, like some things that are just kind of like mildly interesting that you'd like to take a look at over a video format?
I have a lot of really great ideas that I'd love to share, but I have scripts for them. I'm trying not to put all of my ideas out there, but I'll rally off a few that I've got. One script that I worked on recently, or I guess not so recently, but I think streaming has really killed the modern album. It's kind of interesting because for the past few years we've seen a lot of big artists kind of bloat their albums with massive track lists and super long just out. It's like there's no point. If I'm only going to listen to like 3 songs from it, like why do I care about the other 25? The only reason that they have, these 30 plus long track lists is because they want to make money, and it's not really my thing. But now as we've seen with the rise of TikTok in the last 2-3 years, you only need 15 to 60 seconds for a hit. And, we've seen a lot of artists, that have been small or been around kind of getting big. I think one example that comes to my mind is Harmless. He's a buddy of mine out in LA. He had a song called Swing Lin, which got really big on TikTok. That song came out 10 years ago. And now he's got like a record deal. He's going on tour again. It's crazy just what has changed. So, it sort of leads you to wonder, will albums start getting longer or shorter depending on going forward? So I have a video idea on that. I guess I can give a preview as to what my next video will be. It's about the rise and fall of iTunes, another really interesting topic. Crazy to think how just 10 years ago, digital sales were the leader in, well, not like the leader, but they had over half of the music industry's total number of sales. And then 5 years later, by nobody's surprise, they like streaming took over as the biggest leader in sales. So, the fact that iTunes was around, they had the popularity, they had the install base, and they didn't like try to compete with Spotify at the time was kind of interesting. So that's sort of the story I'm trying to tell, how they got big, how they got complacent, and how that led to their demise.
Just when you brought up iTunes there, it gave me PTSD to when that one fucking U2 album was on every iPhone.
I know, and I'm actually talking about that in the video. It was just like, it's just, it really was not a great move at all because, you're applying a physical media model to a digital one, and it didn't work. You're stripping all of the value out of the music. Like I'm sure they got paid very handsomely for it, but at the end of the day, it really was not a good move on their part, and it really was kind of a failed experiment, as you could clearly see.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, God. Do you have anything to add, Nostalgia?
No, that was, yeah, I completely forgot about that. That was definitely one of the weirdest like sagas in the history of just digital music.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was kind of tough to write about something that is a really important part of my childhood. I kind of remember the joy of getting like an iTunes gift card for my birthday or for Christmas or some other holiday, and as soon as I would get it, I would just like redeem the gift card, kind of just look through the store, find what was new. And, back then it felt like every purchase, kind of had value, and you had to be smart with your money. And I guess that kind of taught me now to kind of be a little smarter with how I spend my money. But anyways, I wasn't trying to pick stuff that was really trendy. I was trying to pick stuff that, I really liked, and you only have $10. or $15, you can only pick out a certain number of songs. So you got to pick stuff that you're going to enjoy for a really long time, not some song that's popular for like 4 weeks and then falls off the face of the earth.
Yeah. You can be smart with your money, or you can do what I did and just buy every Blink-182 album digitally for some reason.
Oh, do you actually do that?
Yeah.
In terms of like early digital stuff, I didn't actually I pirated all my music that I got, and it was mainly because my cousin was just like using Bluetooth to send me like audio files of songs and shit. So I was like, okay, this is fine. Like I think the only music I paid for was like the couple of CDs that I got when I was younger. Like the first CD I ever got was Random Access Memories. I remember getting that for like €10 in golden discs or something like that. And that was a fun. I cherish that. I still have it even. And yeah, but the digital side mostly just pirated until I ended up getting Spotify and getting like student discount.
Right, yeah. 10 to 12-year-old me probably wouldn't have been able to figure out how to do all that, but
look, I'm lucky I didn't have to figure that out for myself. My cousin knew how to do it, so I was fine with that.
There you go, exactly.
YouTube to MP3. Easy.
We don't want them to know what we're doing.
Oh shit, yeah. We legally use this legal software to legally download music. Trust.
There you go.
Please don't arrest me on Garda Síochána. Please.
Or Metallica.
Oh, that's a story for another day, actually. Holy shit. That whole saga is insane.
Yeah. No, we can't afford to go down that rabbit hole.
No, it's a big fuck off rabbit hole that we don't need to go down yet.
There you go. Don't want to have Susan Wojcicki on your ass. That would be bad.
Yeah, true. But also just don't have Lars Ulrich on your ass too. Let's just say that.
Yes.
All right. You have a question, Nostalgia?
Yeah. I want to bring things back to music and music that's coming out. What is your favorite album of the year so far? We're only 3 months in, but it's been quite fruitful, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, no, it's been crazy. It's surprising that this volume of albums is coming out so early in the year, because last year not really a lot came out in January, February, March, and that's historically been the trend for the past 2 or 3 years. But this year it's like very surprising how so many artists are dropping, from Black Country New Road, you got a Conway the Machine album, Benny the Butcher, Charlie XCX probably by the time this is out.
The Weeknd dropped in January as well.
Yeah, the Weeknd dropped literally the first week of the year, and it's crazy because you kind of start to wonder, because it's not a competitive time to drop if more artists are going to do that, because look at even last year with like Olivia Rodrigo and Driver's License, right? Like she released it first week of the year, and there's a reason that it got almost 1 billion and whatever streams in a year. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, you just have to be really smart with your marketing, and I think her team was, and a lot of other PR teams and marketing teams are kind of figuring, okay, well, this is kind of untapped territory, so nobody releases here, why not just do it, right? Because I'm sure if you're a music fan, you don't want to listen to like more of the B-list kind of releases that come out earlier in the year. You kind of want something really nice to start off your year. And this has been a really cool year for in that sense. But to answer your question specifically, Nostalgia, I'm looking at my album of the year now. So my top 3 as of now would be the new Black Country New Road record, Ants From Up There, a really incredible project, tops their debut in every way. Then Once Twice Melody by Beach House. Mick, I know you were not a fan of that one. I am a Beach House fan, so I mean, I had to love it. And then probably God Don't Make Mistakes by Conway the Machine. Really impressed me because, I've become more of a Griselda fan recently, and Conway I've kind of thought is like the worst member, but I think that album kind of proved a little bit otherwise. Like, I have a little bit more respect for him going forward.
Yeah. I think like my current top 3 right now, I'm gonna go with the new Big Thief record. That one is great.
I haven't heard that one yet. I've heard.
Oh my god,
you
dude.
gotta.
Really
it's some of the best folk music in recent memory. Like, dude, it's so good.
I'll definitely have to listen to it. I mean, I've been Big Thief. I haven't listened to in a couple years. I think 2019 they had two albums. One I liked and one I did not like. I can't remember which one they were, but I'm hoping that this is a nice return given the scores and everything. So
God, it's
trust me, it's great.
It's gorgeous.
There's so many great songs on it. Like there's so much on it, but it doesn't even feel like it's long, like at all. Like it goes by relatively quickly for a double album. Like damn.
Oh, it's a double album. Okay.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half long, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, no, it's quite the journey.
Yeah,
that would also be in my top 3 easily, along with obviously the new Black Country, New Road. Also, probably the new Caroline record. That shit was bussin'.
I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty cool. As far as the other two that I'd pick, I'll probably go with the new Animal Collective record, Time Skiffs. I surprisingly loved that one, even consecutive listens, and the new Conway record, God Don't Make Mistakes. I fucking loved that one. I can't get enough of Conway. I think he's honestly the best Griselda member. There's always a debate to be had, but Conway is always going to be my go-to if I want to listen to some Griselda stuff. But Benny is also just as great. I think West Side Gun is a little inconsistent, but I do like some of his stuff.
I think West Side Gun's definitely grown on me the most. I think for me it would go.
I remember a few months ago you disliked him.
Yeah, no. Pray for Paris, when I first heard it, I really just was not a fan of it at all. But, in the winter, I sort of got more into Griselda. I have family up in Buffalo, so it's just like I was up there. I'm like, all right, let me just go back to Griselda. Maybe I'm not really getting what's all here. And, I listened to Pray for Paris again, and I'm like, fucking hell, this is great. It's not like an elite Griselda record by any means, but, some incredible beats on there. I really had a change of heart on it. And even just a lot of West Side stuff in general. Again, he's inconsistent. He relies a lot on features and really great beats, but, overall, he's still a decent rapper. Benny, I think, is the most consistent, rapping-wise and beat-wise, just a very talented guy. Conway, I don't think... He's a good lyricist. I just don't really think his flow is all that great. Again, I love his lyrics. Storytelling is awesome, but I still can't get over just his, interesting delivery, I guess, to say the least. The dude's rapping with, like, a paralyzed face, for Christ's sake, so it's definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah, I suppose it is kind of an acquired taste, but I don't know. I fucking love his voice. I fucking love his voice, and just generally I just think he has, honestly, I think he has the best, just general lyricism, flows, and even arguably production as well. Honestly, his recent projects of production has been fucking top notch. From King to a God, the production on that album is just stellar. And I adore that album. It's probably my favorite Griselda release. But but Benny is also up there for me, and I do like West Side Gun. I even loved Side B of Hitler Wears Hermes. I thought that was great, honestly. Side A, a bit stinky,
I did not listen to it in full, but I didn't listen to it in full. Hitler Wears Hermes. What is it, 8 now or something?
8, yeah. Apparently the last one.
The one is Vogue cover from that one? I'm trying to remember because or it might be 7. It's like I get them all confused. But Vogue cover from one of the Hitler Wears Hermes albums is really good. I've been listening to that one a lot recently.
Right. Were you about to say something, Nostalgia?
Oh no, I'm saying overall I think Benny's my boy. My favorite Griselda project is definitely Manger on McNichols, though, from Boldy James.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah,
I kind of forgot Boldy was in Griselda. It's like it's sort of I always just think it's like West Side, Benny and Conway and Makami, as we saw last year. But
Makami is in Griselda as well.
Yeah, Pray for Haiti was really good. But then you have Boldy James too, and it's like, oh my god, these guys are really something in the underground rap scene.
Yeah, Real Bad Boldy is also a very good album.
I need to check out more of his music. I haven't heard too much of it as of yet.
I love both of his albums that he did with Alchemist. I thought those were fucking fantastic.
I thought they were solid. But I think Major McNichols and Real Bad Boldy are peak. However, about Westside, I feel like at his peak, he's probably my favorite Griselda member. I love his energy. His flow is just so out there. But just like Mick said, I just feel like he kind of delivers, something half-baked a little too often.
Yeah.
And plays things instrumentally mostly a little too late, a little too safe. Sorry. But if he was at his peak constantly, I think he'd be my favorite.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's kind of bound to happen when they're dropping so much music.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
It's insane that they drop so much music, but at the same time, it's kind of at a cost because so much of the material that they come out with could come together as this one perfect project. It would be insane what they could do if they took their time,
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose they're doing their thing. It's respectable. They've played the market. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and that's a good point. I kind of feel that way with specifically Benny the Butcher. I feel like last year with the Plugs I Met 1 and 2. No, Plugs I Met came before that. I'm sorry. But I think he does better on those 7-track EPs, because you look at Tana Talk 4 and stuff. There were some songs on there that definitely could have been left on the chopping block.
Yeah.
I feel like if they do shorter projects, I feel like that's where they're at their best. And it becomes a 12-song, 40-minute album. There's usually 3 or 4 duds in there that I'm really just not going to go back to at all. But if they keep 7, 8, 9 songs, it'd be a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. I do usually think I do think Benny has some great projects under his belt, but I suppose excuse me. Yeah, that's a general problem that I have with a few Griselda projects anyway. There's definitely songs that are great on there, but then you could just tell there's a lot of subpar kind of so I won't say low effort, but I'll just say they're underwhelming kind of tracks there. There's always a few good tracks to take away, but then there's also a lot that are just underwhelming and just not that interesting or memorable. They just kind of fall into the Griselda universe,
Yep, absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah. Okay, all right, next question I have. Currently we're all big in the big into the content creator scene, and specifically in the music sector, and I'm just wondering, who are some of the best content creators in the music scene right now in your opinion?
Obviously, first and foremost, I gotta say all my friends, that I've come to meet through YouTube, they're all major influences on what I do. So I gotta shout out everybody in order here. I gotta shout out Only Small Bites, Rough Criminal, A Bucket of Jake, Jordan N Reactions, Jackson Burns, Tunes, Kyle Reed, Dappy, my boy T-Dog Reviews, Luke On Demand, Connor YouTube Man, Ryan Newman, you, MickyT, The Cornballs, Nicholas Rogers, K-Man Reviews, Nostalgia, and the Tape Podcast. You guys are all great. Really love watching all of you guys. I had to shout out everybody. I had to make sure that I got everybody there.
You have that written down. If not, that's impressive.
Yeah, no, I have a list of people. I have a list, but just in general, in the music sector, Turning the Tables are great. I really love the concept that those guys are doing. Totally not bitter that they kind of ghosted me and didn't want to do an interview. That wasn't a fun process, but still, I have a tremendous respect for what they're doing. It's a really, again, unique concept, and they're doing really good stuff. Obviously, The Needle Drop was one of my biggest influences to start my own channel. As of late, I've been kind of indifferent towards him. I've kind of watched less and less of him as time has gone on. I just feel like once he started to monetize himself, he's kind of not cared less. I just feel like it's just not the same person. You know what I mean? And you sort of wonder, for all those 8-9 years that he was on YouTube, was he really just that guy behind a veil? And then as soon as he, oh yeah, surprise, I'm going on Patreon, and then, oh, surprise, I'm going to go on Twitch, and oh, I'm going to go on TikTok, I think it really shows a lot about him as a person, but that's neither here nor there. I guess Dev Lemons is really cool. I actually almost got an interview with her a couple years ago, but that's another story.
I remember that didn't happen.
If you're listening to this, Devin, make sure you hit me back. I'm kind of mad about that, but you know what?
Hit my boy Baz up, Dev, please.
Yeah. It's, again, no hard feelings. I get it. Stuff comes up, and now she's really big. Good for her. But it was just cool to kind of interact with her and just get something set up. Alpha Media is really great. Volksgeist, Polyphonic. I had the pleasure of interviewing both Alpha and Polyphonic. Polyphonic on my podcast. He was a really nice guy. Other music creators. I feel like I'm gonna forget somebody. So, I mean, I think I'm just gonna end it there. Like, those are just some names that are on my mind right now. That I'm really thinking of, and if somebody comes up in like 5 minutes, I might have to say it.
Fair.
You feel free to just like spitball whenever, just like out of context, just spitball just random YouTube content creators though.
Absolutely.
So that Only Small Bites review was interview was really great, by the way.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was. It went a lot better than I thought it would. It was kind of a bummer that I didn't get to like see his face or whatever, but hey, I'm respectful. You know, if he doesn't want to show his face, keep his identity, I totally get it. Yep. A lot of people are like, you asked a lot of great questions. You know, I like what you guys talked about, and you know, I think that's an interview that I learned a lot from, and it went a lot better than I thought it did or would have. So I'm really fortunate for the opportunity, and it really got some new growth to the channel, and really happy with how it turned out. Thank you, boys.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying Only Small Bites videos. Like when he started, like I know he got big off the off the like album, like voice by animations and stuff, and they're really entertaining. They're great. Well, also just some of the videos that he did before that were actually really interesting as well.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed those ones, but like when he took off with those videos, those were insane. And I like the way he kind of capped it off with the finale as well. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, it was a really great piece of art, and I don't know if you guys have watched the interview I did yet, but we talk about that a lot in there. It was cool to kind of learn about the process and what went into it. But even now, you know, he's going back to kind of his roots with like, you know, more video essay type stuff, but he's still keeping like the animation in there that you saw in like the Basically series. So it's a really cool mix, and I'm really excited to see where he goes with his content going forward.
Yeah, same. I really enjoy those videos, especially. Those are probably my favorites that he's done. But, like, he's definitely one of my favorites up there. Rough Criminal is obviously still a favorite. He still fills that niche for me. And I think I remember showing the a friend of ours that Elden Ring review, and it was basically exactly what he said. Like, pretty much his thoughts are the same. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of reaction channels that I've been digging into recently and enjoying a lot. Alpha Media puts out really good stuff. I haven't watched him in a long time, but I still really like Alpha Media.
Yeah, he's gotten more. He's gotten more like more long form kind of stuff recently, and I kind of have respect for him for that. Because, like, in the beginning, like, he was making, I don't want to say, like, basic videos, but, like, you know, a video that, like, really anybody else could have made. But now I like how he's getting more creative and diving deeper with what he does. It's fun to watch that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any in mind, Nostalgia?
Turning the Tables.
Yeah.
I've been binging them ever since they first started with the Radiohead ones. Again, Tony Whitburn as well is the GOAT when it comes to reactions.
Yeah, Tony's a legend. I still talk to him on Twitter. He's a legend.
But I don't know if there's any that you haven't mentioned, to be honest.
Well, there's a lot there, and there's a lot of great stuff out there, so there's definitely stuff to be searching for.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think music journalism, specifically on YouTube, it's kind of one where, you know, obviously you can kind of easily get into, but I think what's really important is just finding those with like a niche, doing something creative, doing something special with it. Like, obviously any average Joe could like react to something, but you kind of have to have an angle with it. You have to have a point, you know, instead of just being like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the next guy to react to this album and get some views from it. Or, oh, I'm going to talk about this and, you know, get some views from it. You know, you want to kind of go into that scene with like a fresh take on music, because there's so much out there, and you want to be able to get people interested in what you do in a way that a lot of other YouTubers might not be able to do.
Yeah. I mean, that's specifically why I love Rough Criminal's content as well. Like he definitely filled that niche for like the low attention span sort of crowd. But like he did fill that niche. But like they're just very, like, even for how short they are, they're just very well done and articulated. Like, they're good. Like, they're very good, and they're still entertaining to this day. Like,
Absolutely.
I even go back and watch like some of the older ones he did, like from maybe a year ago, and they're still great. I still really enjoy those videos.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I need to get more into Turning the Tables, actually. I haven't watched many of their reactions, but I've seen them around.
I'm kind of just one of those guys, like, I can't watch, like, the entire video because it's, it's pretty long, so I kind of just skip around and see, like, oh, how's the dad gonna react to this song that I like or that song that I like? When they did, like, the Mad Villainy one, I was looking at, like, accordion and, like, curls and all caps and Great Day to kind of see how he felt about, like, those. Because, like, the other tracks, it's, like, they're great, but like there are only like 4 or 5 that I really wanted to see his reaction to. So I guess it's kind of nice in that sense. They sort of like break it up kind of by like track. What I wish they would do instead is they kind of just continuously play the album and like they like talk over it. Like, you know what I mean? Like obviously like they can hear the song and they can hear each other. So it's like, instead of like pausing and like, being like, oh, what'd you think of that song? It's like, it could be like just one continuous thing to kind of keep the energy going. Cause I feel like, a lot of people might not really care about like, what the dad thinks, but it's just like, if you hear it like all at once, it would probably be a little bit shorter and a little bit more compelling for some people. But again, that's just my opinion. They still have a great thing going. Good for them. Happy for them. And wishing them the best of luck.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure there's lots of like copyright stuff to take into consideration there as well when you think about it that way. And then also just I suppose like lots of people just love the pause and discussion between the two of them as well. So that's definitely like another reason why this format works. I just think the discussion is also interesting to those who are interested.
And like back and forth is also just quite funny a lot of the time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
From the stuff I've seen, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I would like them to do, but instead of like pausing like the song every like 2-3 minutes when it's over, I wish they did that like as the album was playing in the back. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I'm sorry. Like I
get you.
I'm not sure if that was super clear.
Alternatively, they could be one of those channels that pitches up the music, plays the entire album on loop, and just like sits there, doesn't say anything or do anything. It just stare blankly at the screen like one of those channels. Those definitely exist, but they're just so funny.
The bane of my existence.
I need to tell you guys a story about a thing I found like a year ago. I was looking for like I think it was TPAB or Good Kid, Mad City reactions, and I was searching by like I think newest uploaded, and it was some like low budget like recorded on a phone camera that was just falling over because it was clearly like being propped up by like a book or something. And the guy was just, I think he said like 4 words throughout the entire album. I was skipping through, I couldn't pick out any words. And then he had like autoplay on Spotify. So the last like 20 minutes of the reaction was him just reacting to just random tracks, half of which weren't even Kendrick tracks. So that was I think after seeing that, everything else just a little seems a little more high budget to me.
Oh god, I couldn't laugh there. Curse this throat, god damn it. But like but there's so that's the thing, there's probably so many channels out there that are just like that, just low budget, low effort stuff where no one actually cares. They don't say anything. They're just like bobbing their head, listening to the music, like, oh yeah, this is
like
cool.
Reaction videos are probably the biggest hit or miss on YouTube.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I've even seen like other people trying to rip off Turning the Tables. It's like, it's like this like black guy and his dad. They're like reacting to like rap albums. The dad just has like no idea what he's talking about. He just like doesn't even look like he wants to be there. I just think like that's kind of funny. Like, obviously good for them. They're bonding. They're doing their thing. But it's just like I feel like seeing like the same people kind of just directly copy, at least just say like, oh yeah, we copied them, and kind of just like, like, I'm not saying give up, keep doing what you're doing, but it's just like it's kind of obvious that it's like it's not an original idea, I guess. That's just me though. But yeah, no, I just think like some of that stuff is funny. There's just like direct clones of like popular channels.
Yeah. It's also kind of a thing in the like metal community as well, like the rock community as well. It's kind of a similar thing where like remember a few years ago when John Denton had like a channel with some other guy as well, and they were just randomly reacting to like hip hop songs. Simon Miller, the wrestler, and like they were when they were Rock Reacts, I think it was, and like that was a while ago. Jesus Christ, but like it's kind of like that niche where like a lot, like in the metal community, a lot of them will just have like insert like whatever tag there reacts to like rap album or whatever it is. It's just like it's kind of a weird trend that happened for a while, and yeah, it's kind of interesting to look the way there's like a pattern with like all of these different trends that go on in these different sort of like sub communities of reaction videos. Like it's kind of weird. It's kind of jarring at some points, but like it's also like, wow, have reaction videos really don't really have this much originality? Like there's obviously original like reaction YouTubers out there, obviously, but like there's definitely a lot of them that are just like just kind of rinse and repeat, copy and paste stuff, just kind of following a format, and not really much interesting goes on in them. I've definitely come across maybe a few channels like that, but there's definitely a lot of channels in the reaction sphere that definitely like they definitely feel interesting in that grander scheme, you know?
I don't know. I don't even know if it's originality. I think the thing that, for me personally, makes a reaction channel good is if they can really well articulate like what they feel about a track, and you know, quote unquote, react good. Because if someone's just like listening to like a track and they're just like, oh, this is fire, and then they're just like saying nothing and just going, yeah, flames, yeah, then I like personally wouldn't watch it, especially when it's in like a reaction video format, like doing it on a stream or something. Even then, I try to be as far away from that when we're doing our live reaction streams, but at the end of the day, it's just an excuse for me and Mick to drink on camera.
And discover new music. But it's fun. Like they get taken down anyway, so it doesn't matter. We're not making any fucking money off of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, as long as you're doing what you love, I mean, that's all I really gotta say. It's like, even if it gets demonetized, whatever, you know, just as long as you guys are doing something fun, that's all that matters.
It's a bonding experience.
It is a damn good bonding experience.
Indeed. Yeah, do you have another question, Nostalgia?
Yeah. This is something completely unrelated, but it's something I was thinking about at work today. Just looking back at it, just because I'm thinking about this year in music and how already it's looking like it might be one of the best years in recent history in terms of music. Then I, from there on, kind of looked back at like the 2000s and 90s, and in my head kind of tried to figure out what my favorite year in music of all time is. So, Baz,
2012.
what's your
2012.
favorite year in 2012? All right.
It's like I could answer that right off the bat. It's like I'm sorry, I don't want to like spoil the question, but I mean,
I mean, if
it's an easy answer for me. I feel like 10 years ago, some of the greatest albums of our generation that have shaped the sound of music that we hear today. I mean, just so much incredible music came out. I mean, if you look, like, let's look at album of the year right now. Let's see what came out.
I'm checking the decades, actually.
I mean, I'm just looking at 2012 specifically. It was just an incredible year. I mean, let's look right here. The Channel Orange, Good Kid, Mad City, The Idler Wheel, Lonerism. You got The Seer by Swans. Let me think, what else? That Killer Mike album. God, The Money Store.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think Godspeed You did something that year. Flying Lotus did something that year. I mean, it was really just an unbelievable year for music. I know I keep saying it, but it's like there's so much that I just go back to, and I'm just like, man, like this is really some great shit. Japan Droids. I mean, I'm like, everything's like coming back to me. Chromatics, Kill for Love, Mount Erie dropped that year. God, I mean, that is unbelievable. I just forgot how much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you go back and you're looking, Dirty Projector, Swing About Magellan, another great project. I mean, Jesus, man. Like, I just really forgot, but as I'm looking now, but, you know, that would probably be my pick. A lot of albums that shaped modern music today that I have no problem answering in less than 5 seconds.
Yeah, that was a quick answer as well.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I totally fucking get that, man.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I don't know what my favorite year for music would be. That would be such a fucking tough one. I'd have to like sift through like what came out what year and have a look at that. But like, damn, it would be so hard to decide for me because I love a lot of music that came out from a lot of fucking years. But like, it'd be so difficult to pinpoint like what like what that would be, because like so much great music comes out at least every year, but like it's just the sheer amount that's great is just insane for a lot of years, like especially in 2012. Like, come on, as you mentioned.
Oh, and I almost forgot Bloom by Beach House. Where's my head? I didn't even mention, like, that's probably top 5 for me. Jesus. See, it's like
Uneven Compromise from Lil Ugly Mane. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, that shit came out too.
Some Lil B stuff probably came out that year. I know one of his better albums came out that year.
Visions by Grimes came out in 2012 as well.
I forgot about that.
No Love Deep Web came out as well that year.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was the same year as Money Store.
Same year as the Money Store. Yeah, Godspeed dropped that year as well. Deftones dropped that year as well. Like, there's so much stuff came out that year. God damn, it's insane to try and keep track of it all. Well,
yeah, it's crazy. Wait, no. Okay, I'm getting the Lil B thing wrong. Okay, it was another year. I'm Gay was 2011.
Yeah.
I'm Gay was 2011. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, never mind. But no, that one. That's a classic one.
Okay, I'm thinking. Okay, one that comes into my mind right now. I'd say 2016 probably.
Yeah.
Would be one.
In recent years, 2016.
Yeah,
for me.
I mean,
2016 was an interesting one.
Atrocity Exhibition, Teens of Denial, Black Star, We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service, A Moon-Shaped Pool, Bottomless Pit, Not a Gone Infinity, The Life of Pablo, fucking...
T-Lop's overrated, hot take.
Okay.
Did you say Blonde?
Blonde?
Oh,
no,
forgot
I did
Blonde.
not say Blonde, actually. Blonde came out that year as well.
The Glowing Man? Not a Gone
The Glowing-
Infinity?
Awaken My Love, Childish Gambino, Floss, Injury Reserve came out that year as well.
Touche
Jeffrey
Amore's Stage 4?
Jeffrey came out
Young
as
Thugs
well.
Jeffrey, a classic. I'm more of a Barter 6 guy, though, but Jeffrey's still good.
Yeah, I agree. I think... Well, actually, no. I think I prefer Jeffrey a bit more.
Fair. That's fair.
Blank Face LP came out that year as well.
No, 2016.
Malibu by Anderson
in
.Paak.
recent memory.
How about the
Yeah,
No Worries?
actually,
Yeah, Knowledge and Anderson .Paak, No Worries. Another great record.
I need to listen to that still, actually.
It's a great project.
Untitled Unmastered came out that year too.
A great record.
Excuse me. And The Impossible Kid, Aesop Rock, Denzel Curry with Imperial. There was a lot of great stuff that came out in 2016. It was insane.
Imperial. That's not a project I've heard in a while, but yeah, it was. I feel like pre-Taboo, Denzel had some pretty cool stuff. Imperial is. It's got some really good hits on there.
Yeah, I love Imperial. I love a lot of Denzel stuff in general.
Yep, and me too.
Yeah, 2016, the SoundCloud era was coming out there as well. Whether that's a blessing or a curse in your eyes, take your pick. But you know, but like there was a good couple of projects that were actually pretty solid from that. First, I actually really liked the first Lil Yachty mixtape, Lil Boat. That one was good.
Yeah.
Any other years in mind for you?
There is one that also comes to mind, and that's 1994.
Interesting. I thought maybe like 91, like 1991.
91 is when my favorite album of all time came out. So.
Yeah, Loveless. Nevermind dropped that year. The Low End Theory, Laughing
that's
Stock.
why that's like what most people would pick as like the year of the 90s is 91. So when I heard 94, I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 91 would probably be my second favorite year in the 90s, but like Illmatic, Weezer's Blue Album, Diary by Sunny Day, Real Estate, like a top 10 album of all time for me.
Okay.
I Could Live in Hope by Low,
I'm
Nirvana's
looking right now as well.
Unplugged, Portishead's Dummy,
Yep.
Ready to Die by the Notorious B.I.G., Downward Spiral by Nine Inch Nail, Selected Ambient Works Volume 2, Green Day's Dookie, the Blade Runner soundtrack finally dropped, Blur's Park Life.
That was like from 12 years earlier, though. I mean,
but
I,
it finally dropped
it was,
as an album.
But like they're like the whole it's the album that officially dropped in 2012.
yeah, I mean, I get it, but you know,
Pantera's Far Beyond Driven as well. Fucking
Starflyer 59 Silver,
Ooh.
Outkast's debut.
oh yeah, I forgot about that. Speaking
Yes,
of the devil,
Southern Playlistic.
Yeah, and Orange by Fishmans. I think 94 I would maybe
Oasis.
rate higher than 2016 personally.
oh,
Oasis
what's the story?
dropped-
Morning Glory. Yep.
No. Definitely Maybe their debut.
Oh no, that was
yeah.
I'm sorry, 97. My bad.
Welcome to Sky Valley from Caius as well. Amazing stoner rock album. Chocolate and Cheese from Ween. That also came out.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Jar Flies, the Alice in Chains EP came out that year as well. Hard to Earn, Gangstar came out that year as well. Let me see what else. Ill Communication, the Beastie Boys as well. lot of great stuff in '94. That'll be one of the best years in the '90s for sure.
Yeah, that one I think comes to mind as well.
I think another year in the '90s that sticks out for me is 1998. Actually, it's like we got In the Airplane Over the Sea.
Yeah,
we had Moment of Truth from Gangstar, System of a Down, self-titled, Mos Def and Talib Kweli with Black Star.
I thought that was 99 for some reason.
No, it's 98.
Oh, okay.
It came out
Cowboy
before
Bebop soundtrack.
Yeah, it came out before Black on Both Sides. Oh, Cowboy Bebop soundtrack as well. Death, The Sound of Perseverance, the last Death album.
Oh, and Music Has the Right to Children as well.
Yeah,
I think.
Oh wow, yeah, no, that's another fair pick. You know, see, it's like it's crazy when you're looking at like what comes out every year, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember this, and oh yeah, see, it's I don't know. There's just so many.
The Ocarina of Time soundtrack. Let's go.
Ooh, The Shape of Punk to Come came out that year as well. Gorguts Obscura came out that year as well.
That's a.
Yeah, there was a lot of great stuff that came out there. Mark
maybe
I think an underrated classic in my eyes, so that's another one.
I think maybe 1989 is kind of high up there as well.
1989.
The Stone Roses debut, Pixies Doolittle, The Cure's Disintegration, Nine Inch Nails debut, Morbid Angels, Altar of Madness, No Means No Wrong, Nirvana's debut. I don't think it's as good as 94 though. I think that
Paul's
would be my
Boutique is another one. Did you mention Paul's Boutique?
I've not listened to that project, but yeah.
Dude, listen to Paul's Boutique, please, for the love of fuck.
I'm busy, man.
Just do it.
All right, my final answer is 94. I'm hanging that up on my wall.
I don't have a definitive answer right now. I'll figure it out on my own, but there's a lot of
2012 and 94 goated.
Yeah.
Nick, you can shoot next.
All right, actually, this is just an offshoot of the last question. What do you think the best decade for music was? We're only asking the big dick questions here on the Taped podcast.
I would probably say the 90s.
I would agree.
I would also agree.
I think we're all on the same page. I think the 2010s would be a close second, but in terms of just how much influence it's had on the artists of today, the 90s was definitely where everything started. So many more genres were popping up. It was just a really, fun era of music. You know, the 80s were very sanitized and very, very heavily mixed and, just kind of reflective of, society as a whole. But then the 90s were just more brash. They were more, they're just more fun music, if you get what I'm saying. It wasn't just like rock and like a couple of other subgenres of music that kind of came in the earlier decades. Now you just had so much more creativity, and I think that's really where people thrived, and a lot of people that again are popular now were influenced by people that came out of that scene, so it's really cool to kind of go back and listen to some of the albums. Obviously some of them haven't aged well, but the ones that have, they're all just so great. And that's my answer and why.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree when you say the just the sheer amount of creativity and just sonic diversity that came out from the 90s was just insane. Like the way that hip hop just exploded with just so many influential acts, a lot of like alternative rock pretty much just shaped the 90s. Like Nirvana shaped the 90s when they came out, and then since then we've had just so many influential acts in there. Metal thrived a lot in the 90s as well, actually. Especially with obviously the death metal scene with Death. A lot, obviously, it pretty much reached its commercial peak in the 90s, I'd say, as well. Let me just think here. Of course, just some of my favorite albums of all time came out in the 90s, obviously, so there's that. Just generally, just for the fact that hip-hop became a huge thing in the 90s, as well as, alternative music just taking over what was going on. It was insane. There's just the sheer amount of quality and creativity just is enough is just to carry just the amount of amazing albums that came out. The 90s is definitely up there for me.
Absolutely.
In terms of second favorite, I would probably go with either the 70s or the 2010s, honestly. Because I have a soft spot for a lot of boomer shit, but not the crappy boomer shit, trust. But I do think that 70s offered some of the most incredible music known to man, and then the 2010s obviously is up there as well. Just some of the most interesting music that came out, because like the 2010s was pretty much just like kind of a culmination of like obviously there was still a lot of very new and fresh ideas that were coming up, but also just a culmination of what came before as well, and kind of like updating it in a way, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, a lot more was afforded to us in the 2010s than, say, 20 years or 40 years earlier, right? I mean, there's the power of the internet, so it's like anybody had the power to blow up overnight, create their own styles, create their own genre. So obviously you could argue, oh, recency bias or whatever, but it's crazy to look at music from 10 years ago, whether that's pop, rock, rap, whatever, and look at it now, like music that came out in 2019, and it's just like, wow, like so much changed, and it's just incredible to watch the progression of music in that time.
Yeah.
Like, at least for most of the 90s, like, most of the stuff kind of sounded more or less the same, if you catch my drift. It's like, you know, like, a lot of grunge albums really sounded the same, a lot of the rap albums sounded the same, a lot of the rock albums, like, sounded the same, but they had their own style that influenced people. But, you know, in 10 years in music from 2010 to 2019, you know, again, so much change, and it's just awesome to watch what happened in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned briefly recency bias, and I've been thinking about this. I feel like, while, you know, it does exist in a way, there's also kind of the opposite effect in music, I notice, where people, it's hard to classify a new album as like a masterpiece or a classic. Like the new Black Country New Road album brought this into my head, because on Rate Your Music, very few albums get over a 4.0 average score. And you know if you look at the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, every decade prior to the 2010s, every year would have like maybe 3 or 4 albums that are over a 4. Whereas in the 2010s, the last time we got an album that was over a 4 was in 2016. It just doesn't happen anymore. I feel like people are a little more reluctant to, you know, kind of look at an album and kind of think what effect it'll have years from now. Whereas there is kind of like a sense that older albums are tried and tested, and they've stood the test of time. What do you feel about, you know, giving new albums like perfect scores, saying new albums are instant classics, terms like that? Do you think an album does have to sit with people, and, you know, that's why Black Country New Road's new album is the first album in over half a decade to get such a high score, or do you just think that, you know, it doesn't really matter if it clicks immediately, it clicks?
I think it just depends on the person, you know? I think if you really click with it and you are really convinced that it's a perfect score or above a score of a certain threshold, then yeah, by all means, you can rate an album how you want. I'm a little bit more selective. There, I think, have been maybe 2 or 3 albums in the last 5 years that I've given a 10. So it really does take a lot to impress me and really prove to me that this is really worth it. So, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys that have watched my videos, you know that Paranol got a 10 from me. Just an incredible record last year. And then this will, sorry, that's a song from it. 2012 to 2017 by Against All Logic, which is one of the side projects of Nicholas Yar. Just an incredible house record. I just remember, like, the time that I heard it in my life, I was like starting to get deeper into music, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like a transcendental experience. Really just a great house record if you haven't heard it. But I don't know, I just feel like it's really hard to kind of know how an album's gonna fare in a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. And it's kind of interesting to go back to what Mick asked me at the beginning, like, do I have any video ideas? Another one that I have is like albums that I changed my opinion on, you know? I think that's really important, because I've had Baz reviews for, you know, 3 years now. So I have like 3 years of album data to kind of just look through and see, oh, you know, now I like this album more than I did when it came out, or, oh, you know, I don't like this album as much as I once did. And, you know, I think it's just kind of interesting to kind of just go back to something you loved or something you didn't like and try and find something new about it, that now that you have the experience, you can kind of say, yeah, this is really good, or yeah, no, I don't really think this is as good as I thought it was. Because, you know, when I was first starting out, I was a young kid, you know, I didn't really have any idea of really what genres were, what something was supposed to sound like. So I just really went off of being safe and what I felt confident saying, rather than really like going deep and analyzing the music. So, you know, I'm like reading reviews that I wrote when I first started, and I'm like, how the fuck could I have said that clipping is like death grips, right? It's like they're two completely different fucking things, you know? So it was just interesting to kind of add some new clarity to albums that I have had the chance to sit on and reflect on, and I think that'll be a video that a lot of people enjoy. So to answer your question, recency bias, I think it's a real thing, but at the end of the day, it's up to personal preference. If you think that an album is really worth a certain score, then give it to it. If you have the reasons to defend it, go for it. If you think that, like, I don't know, like Emily Montez's album is like a 10 out of 10, right? Like, why not go ahead and defend it? Like, obviously I might not believe you, but if you're willing to put yourself out there and be brave, I'll read it and get a different viewpoint. Such a terrible example to go with Emily Montez, but I was just like, I don't know, think, something random, something stupid. Oh, okay, there we go. Or I guess like fucking tramp stamps, right? It's like, oh yeah, it's funny, my ex-girlfriend was a huge tramp stamps fan, so I'd always give her shit for it. But if you think like tramp stamps is really good, then like, hey, I'd love to see your review on it, and if you think it's really worth a 10 out of 10, okay, great.
You listen to it, but don't subject me to it.
Right, exactly. Does that answer your question, or do you need a little bit more there?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Perfect.
You got it.
Excellent.
All right. So just back to what you were on about with some like genres and stuff. Like generally, like obviously there's a lot of like great movements and genres in the music sphere, but you know also there's just generally a lot of crap out there too. So just like, what would you categorize as like, say, some of your least favorite or like worst genres or musical movements out there? Like what would you say is like just something that you just straight up just cannot, like, don't want to bother with or something?
Country
like
music. I hate country music. My family is like some of the biggest enjoyers of country music I know. Every time that I'm home, all I hear, country music. I cannot stand it. I don't like how they try really hard to just like be all like, yeah, you know, we can make rap music and we're country, you know, we can make pop songs. You know what I mean? It's like when they try to do that, it just really reflects really poorly on them. And basically, you know, it's funny, my dad and I will kind of just have this running joke, you know, you have this checklist of what you have in a country song. All you really need is like girls, trucks, beer, and Jesus or God, and that's basically a country song for you, you know? So country, I don't really like all that much. I don't really like a lot of like modern like trap rap and like stuff like that. I mean, I've been kind of warming up to it. Like, obviously there are some standout players there that I enjoy, but for the most part, like those like Lil Baby, Gunna, Future, most of those guys I'm not really into too much, but you know, there's definitely an audience out there, obviously, so, but it's just not for me. Let me think. Those are like the two that really come to mind. Most pop music is not really my thing. That's why I was like so surprised that the Silk Sonic record last year did really, like, I really loved it. It was really cool to see Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak kind of team up. But for the most part, I just feel like pop music is just so different now than it ever used to be, right? It's like, you know, songs don't really have like a shelf life anymore. It's like, you know, you go back to, you know, TikToks you made 2 years ago and you look at songs that were popular then, it's like, oh my God, I totally forgot about this. Or even a song that came out like 4 or 5 months ago, you're like, Jesus Christ, I totally forgot about this, you know? So I think pop music is a really weird scape right now with a lot of just different players, and, you know, everybody has the power to get into the charts, sort of to go off of what I talked about earlier with streaming and TikTok and whatever. So it's a great thing, but it's, you know, it's a blessing and a curse, you know? It's kind of, you look at songs that, you know, came out again recently and you're just like, man, that really didn't age all too well. That's why there's only really few TikTok songs that I can say are, yeah, you know what, it might be bad, but hey, you know what, I have a respect for it. That's like some that I can think of off like the top of my head. I'm sure as we go along, again, I will come up with some other things, but that right there are probably like my top three, like the bane of my existence.
I mean, fair enough, but I get country. I definitely get country. There's a lot of terrible country music out there, but like I feel like there's definitely moments and instances where a country album can be peak music. And I'm being serious when I say that. Like,
oh sure, and I mean, obviously, like, you know, Chris Stapleton is really good. You know, like,
Chris Stapleton is great.
The Zac Brown band, I don't mind, but like, you know, guys like Morgan Wallen, that stupid, like, fancy, like, guy, whatever the fuck his name is. My parents will probably know him. But just all those guys, it's just, they're not, I don't know, like, they're just corny. I just can't really, like, take them seriously. And, the fact that, like, millions and millions and millions of people are like, God, they're so good. This is just some of the best music I've ever heard. And it's just like, simple tales about Americana. It's like, okay, suit yourself.
Yeah. Well, like, I think, no, like I was saying, like, when, like, a lot of awful country out there, for sure. But when country is at its best, it's fantastic. Like, when I think of records that I love in the country sphere, like, you think of that Live at Folsom Prison from Johnny Cash, which is, like, one of my favorite country records ever.
Absolutely, but that's Cash. Like older. That's like older outlaw country. I'm talking like modern country. I'm sorry, I should have
modern. Bro country and modern country definitely sucks absolute.
Yeah, that's
shit.
That's what I'm talking about. Like outlaw country, like Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash. Artists like that.
Marty Robbins as well. Marty Robbins is
Big Iron. All those kind of songs. I mean, they're goofy, but I mean, they're still good songs. But
and it also just feels like they're not soulless either. They actually feel like they have heart and like a genuine like place of enthusiasm.
Well, that's what country is. That's what it was.
That's what's meant to be. But like new country artists are just kind of shitting on that with what they're putting out now.
It's the antithesis of what country music was built up to be. I have a lot of respect for people in the 50s and 60s. Buddy Holly, if you could call him country. He was good, and it's just like now it's just like it's such an offshoot from what it was intended to be, and it's really disappointing. So I'm sorry if I wasn't super clear, but like that's sort of what I meant by like country. And also, even recently, like, Orville Peck is really good. It's, again, I think he got popular through TikTok or some other method out there because I feel like a lot of people are talking about him recently. But, like, Sub Pop 3 years ago, they sent me, his first album before it came out. And I was like, yeah, this is really some good shit. And, now everybody's, like, talking about it all of a sudden. He's going on a massive tour. Good for him, obviously. He deserves it. But, it's sort of weird how the internet works.
Yeah. In terms of like other movements that I'm not really too fond of, not very prevalent anymore, but like 2000s post-grunge where like everyone tried to sound like fucking Eddie Vedder for some reason, doing like his fucking voice or whatever, like fucking Creed. Anyone remember Creed? No.
I choose not to.
You choose not to? Like it just sounds like that. It's so bad. Like really, like just overly edgy, angsty, corny, shitty new metal is also one thing I fucking hate. I suppose like really tacky and like dated like boomer rock and synth pop as well come into mind as well. And then more modern stuff, I can't stand the new pop punk revival. I think generally that's just it's shit, just straight up it's shit. Like it's funny I say that because like didn't Avril Lavigne come out with a new album recently?
I think she did, yeah.
Choose not to remember that.
And even guys like Machine Gun Kelly, he might be a Cleveland guy, but I don't associate with him. He's pretty shitty, so. But yeah, I'll agree with you there. Pop punk's just, it used to be good. Like, it had some, like, good stuff. Obviously very formulaic, but at least it was, like, fun to listen to. Like, I sort of just, some days I'll be like, yeah, I want to hear some 2000s post-punk, or pop-punk, excuse me, not post-punk. That's a whole different thing. But, you know what I mean? It's just, like, it's just nice to hear once in a while. It's just fun, peppy music to get you going. I dig it.
Yeah. I'll turn on a Green Day record. I'll turn on a Blink-182 record in the odd time. Like, that shit was enjoyable. Like, it was fun. I really liked it. But, like, these days, it's just, like, really bad modernized versions of it that are just, like, so soulless and tacky.
I just feel bad for, like, Travis Barker and stuff. He's basically, like, everybody's bitch. It's like, you want to make, like, a pop punk song? Give Travis Barker a call. He'll play guitar for you. He'll play drums for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Travis Barker is making a shit ton of money out of it.
Oh, so absolutely. But, I mean, I feel bad for the guy. He's always getting calls from, like, musicians who have never made a fucking pop punk song in their life. And, like, he's getting the call. He's like, yo, can you come help me make this song? Or, yo, I need some help making the song. You know, you're really my influence, man. Please come help me out.
Oh well. Modern trap maybe. Like I don't want to be that guy who just shits on all trap, but like there's a couple of trap artists that I do really enjoy as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm just saying like a lot of it, it's just like,
yeah.
it's not substantial for me. It's just like the same thing, the same triplet flows, the same beats. Obviously, there's some of that which I'm like, okay, it's either goofy and I can respect it, or it's actually like enjoyable. I will give it that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's just not really a lot going on. I don't know. I like to actually like hear what the fuck the people are saying instead of like having to like look up the Genius lyrics and being like, oh, I thought he was saying this for so long, and then he's like, actually, oh, he's saying this.
I don't really take lyrics into account with trap like most of the
But
time.
I kind of
just
like if
listen
it's
to whatever.
funny and it's supposed to like if people are actually like playing it, it's like I want to hear what they're, you know what I mean?
To be
like,
fair, yeah,
obviously-
that's kind of like me with Young Thug. Then I'll say that it's kind of like me with Young Thug.
It's like I think yeah, exactly. Like Young Thug might be saying like one thing and I think it's like this, but he's actually saying oh, you know, so yeah.
And not on the fish on the sofa. Like sick. Oh, I love Thugger so much, but then like I can't really think of much else that's just like that irritates me. No, that's it. That's all I have for that. Do you have anything?
Well, I'm with you guys on modern trap, and obviously on post grunge. I'm thinking maybe like power metal. I just never really.
Oh, power metal.
Yeah. I mean,
Power
I'm
metal
sure
is
again. I'm
funny.
sure there's plenty of albums in the genre that are great. But one thing that just really I could never get into is just progressive metal, and I don't mean like progressive metal that takes qualities from like a wide variety of genres, like Tool do with like alt metal, or like someone
Opeth?
like, Opeth with death metal. I mean, kind of
and Death's later stuff too.
yeah. I mean, kind of like the Dream Theater, Devin Townsend.
Yeah,
just-
that kind of stuff.
Just it's just yeah. It's
I feel bad because my friend really loves Dream Theater. He tried to get me into them, and I just didn't fuck with them.
yeah. No, I just could never. No matter how hard I tried, and like no matter how hard I tried to convince myself that the fact that they're all talented musicians is all that matters, and all that is necessary for me to enjoy it. It just I never can. But yeah, that's it.
Right. All right. I ran out of questions, so you next.
Yeah. We've talked a whole lot about music today, unsurprisingly. But how about we kind of switch things up for a bit?
Sure thing.
What is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie of all time? Again, not one I really have to think about. American Beauty by Sam Mendes. Obviously, say what you want about Kevin Spacey. He's a piece of shit, but man, is he an incredible actor. Honestly, it was the film that really got me to care about film in the first place. You know, I watched it when I was probably like a freshman in high school, and I just think when I watched it, I was at a point in my life where I'm like, man, I really needed to see something like this. It's just really well written, well directed, well acted. I mean, it's just a quintessential film for me. I've really come to enjoy it, and it's, you know, the first time you watch it, it's like it feels like it's very serious and a very dark drama, but like the second and third, fourth time you watch it, it's like you realize it's a lot funnier than you really thought it was. So that would probably be my pick. I mean, Sam Mendes is a great director. He's done a lot of really cool stuff over the years, but I think that is really the film for me from him that takes the cake.
I actually
yet
do
to-
have
I've yet
that
to
on
see-
DVD, but I've never watched it.
I've yet
Okay.
to see American Beauty.
I would recommend it. If you can find it on any of the streaming services out there, 100% worth a watch. It really, really spoke to me in a way that, again, not a lot of other films have. And then, like, if we're going like Letterboxd style top four, I would do Amadeus by Milos Forman, Roma by Alfonso Cuarón, and The Graduate by Mike Nichols. Those are probably my top four.
Nice.
Alright.
We've mentioned
Maybe we'll keep
times.
it brief because we actually have said this like 10 times.
Yeah, we've said our film takes millions of times already, but my favorite movie of all time is Blade Runner.
Was not a fan of the original Blade Runner. Hot take. I think it's a little overrated.
Makes him cry. It's okay.
I know. I'm
Make it
sorry.
okay.
You know what? I'm sure everybody's going to be throwing tomatoes at me from off the screen, but
I mean, to be fair, I've seen some of your takes. Not too
I know.
pressed.
I know. I know some things will not sit very well with people, but I stand by my reviews. I'm a man who really likes relatable characters. I like films to be interesting. Obviously, if it's slow, it has to have a purpose, and if it doesn't, then it's not for me.
Honestly, the one that didn't sit with me right the most is probably the Big Lebowski. What do you think of the Big Lebowski?
I'm sorry, I'm just not a Coen Brothers fan. Like, the only film that I've liked from them is Fargo, And that was at least funny, and it had something going for it, you know? Like, I think No Country for Old Men is super overrated. I think The Big Lebowski, I don't know if I was just having a shitty day or just, like, I wasn't really paying... Like, I just do not like the dude. I just don't think he's that funny, you know?
I think he's fucking hilarious, actually,
I just never got into it, you know? Obviously, a lot of people like it. I'm sorry. But, you know, it just... At the time, I just like was like, it's not really that great. But you know what? Maybe I'll rewatch it and maybe I'll change my opinion. We will see.
I really hope you do. I really hope you do. All right, your next nostalgia.
Oh yeah. My favorite film of all time is The Thing.
I have not seen that one yet.
That's my second favorite movie of all time.
It's just, I think, a perfect horror, and it's just a masterpiece in practical effects. It's just, it looks so amazing. The practical effects look so amazing. Not a bit of CGI was needed, and just how meticulously everything was put together, how the movie was paced, how the viewer are just as invested and just as confused and as lost as all the characters in the film throughout. It's just it's a perfect film in my opinion.
Sweet. I'll also check it out.
Yeah, shout out to The Breakfast Club. I grew up watching that film maybe like once or twice a year. Charlie Chaplin's City Lights is one I've watched recently, and it's the perfect silent film. It's one of the greatest films ever made, easily. Also, probably The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and the original Star Wars for me.
Nice, very nice. Good list of films there.
Actually, I'm going to go on my Letterboxd just to see what I watched recently and rated recently.
Well, speaking of horror, that you brought up nostalgia, I'm not a big horror movie fan, but the ones that I have seen are pretty good. Midsummer's in my top 50, and I just saw, I don't know if you've seen Funny Games by Michael Haneke. I just watched that. That was my most recent watch, and holy fucking shit, that movie blew me away.
I'm also like kind of largely on the fence with horror. If I love it, I love it, but if I don't like it, I usually hate it.
Yeah, I just feel like... Yeah. Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think the thing with horror is I'm kind of like a pick and choose kind of person, because obviously there's a lot of just like really boring horror movies, but then I don't know, I have a fondness for like the 80s slasher stuff. I have a fondness for like maybe just some movies that are... Actually, I've been watching a lot of like Wendy Goon videos about like disturbing movies and shit like that, but like some of them I've seen, I would not recommend, but like I think when horror is done right and is actually done like with creative intent of just, instead of just like, ooh, there's a jump scare around this corner, ooh, there's a jump scare around this corner, serial killer number 47 is coming to pull my fucking guts out, like
there you go.
If it has substance, then there's definitely a lot to take from horror. Like Suspiria, for example, that is a great
Suspiria movie. I was about to bring
that is a fucking great one. It's just generally because it's like it has substance. Like a lot of horror movies don't have substance. They just implement jump scares just to have jump scares. Like it's dumb. I hate it so much. It's not even scary. It's just annoying.
Yeah, to me, it's about like horror movies like that. Like the cheap ones are just kind of like more than an art form, or just kind of like a social experience that you watch. You're meant to watch them with friends or in a cinema, fucking eating popcorn. You're not meant to think too much about it. It helps if you're slightly drunk or inebriated, but like The Thing, for example, it's just such a creative movie, such a masterpiece of like practical effects. The story is amazing. It's so well paced. It's just all in all a great movie, and the fact that it's unsettling and scary is just. It's not the focus of the film. It's just kind of an effect of everything that happens. It is the atmosphere that it builds. Everything just so happens to be very scary. Same with Suspiria. Like that movie, it has like one jump scare. It's super fucking effective. Oh, two jump scares. Sorry, they're both super fucking effective. But largely, the movie is just around the atmosphere. There's no cheap jump scares. You just the building where it takes place, it's just so fucking unsettling, and it's just brought to life so well. The movie is beautiful, the colors are beautiful, it just feels like you're there. I think a horror movie should an ideal horror movie should aim to be a good movie first, and then the scariness should come as kind of like a effect of the the atmospheres and everything that it does well. I don't
Absolutely.
like when a movie is clearly just meant to be scary, and that's the gimmick.
Yeah, no, I think that's the same way. For the few horror films that I've seen, the ones that have really stuck out to me, even Funny Games that I've just watched recently, it's just the fact that it's just so just horrifying to watch. It's like, I don't know if you're familiar with like the premise, but it's like this like wealthy family goes to like their summer house in Austria, and these two like psychopaths basically break into their house like in a really like subtle way. They're like, "Oh, hey, can I borrow some eggs?" And then, like, you know, they, like, subtly do things to kind of, like, fuck with the family, but it looks like they're just, like, innocuous little, like, 20-year-olds. And then they, like, literally torture the family, and, like, they put a bet in place that they'll all be dead by 9 o'clock in the morning. And it's just so absolutely, like, I literally don't think I will ever watch the film again, because it was just that much mental anguish went into it. And it's, like, the reason why it's so scary is because it's, like, it feels so real, right? It's, like, you know, I don't want to spoil it or anything, but it's like, you know, these long takes where it's just like you watch this family and their emotion and what they're feeling. It's just like you just feel so uncomfortable. You're like squirming in your seat. When's it going to end? You know, I can't watch this anymore. It's like so painful and scary. You know, it's like I don't want anything bad to happen that hasn't already happened, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, horror definitely.
Like that's what horror should be. It should be something like you're watching and it should make you feel scared. It should make you feel suspense. You should feel suspense from it. It's not like, you know, oh, ghost pops out of the corner and you know what I mean? It's like it should be like really like you should feel scared watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll definitely give that a watch whenever I can.
Yeah, it's really good. If you have HBO Max, it's on there, but I'm sure you could like bootleg it or something.
I'll get it off a totally legit and legal website. It's
Absolutely.
in terms of I'm just looking at my letterbox now. I'm just going to list off some movies I've seen recently. Good Time with Robert Pattinson. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, probably my favorite A24 film. Just, I mean, unbelievable. It's like another movie that's like kind of scary, but the fact that it's like so stressful, just like the way that the Safdie brothers make a movie is phenomenal, right? It's like you've got like 8 different things going on in one scene, and it's like your brain just goes insane. I feel bad for anybody with ADD who's watching that shit. It's like, what the fuck am I supposed to focus on? You know what I mean?
I need to rewatch it.
I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, no, it is really awesome.
What else have I seen? Suspiria, obviously that one is great. Jackass Forever, probably one of the best like recent movie like theater experiences ever, because oh my god, that was such a fucking blast to watch in theaters. More on the controversial side, American History X. I actually really like American History X.
Oh, me too. Really, just another. I guess it's a horror film, but not really. It's just really dramatic.
It's no. I don't think it's a horror movie at all.
Not like a direct horror, but it's like
it's so intense. It's
an intense movie. I mean, it's again really well done though.
Yeah, and one of my favorite like Edward Norton performances easily. There's this one movie I saw, Lords of Chaos. It's like a movie that was made about, I don't know why I watched it. It was a movie about I'm sure you know about Mayhem, the black metal band. You know them. It's pretty much about them. It's a really shitty movie. It's a bad movie. It's so bad. There Will Be Blood. I fucking love that movie. Probably one of the best performances of all time in that movie.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
So good. Snatch. I fucking love the dialogue in that. It's so snappy. Plus, it's so jarring to hear Brad Pitt do an Irish traveller accent, and it sounds good. I don't know why. Well, like, man. Point Break. Point Break is dumb, but I think it's fun. I liked it.
I don't mind Point Break. I mean, obviously, it's, you know,
Johnny Utah.
It's cool to watch. You know, I just think it's fun. It's again not the best movie ever, but it's got some cool stunts, some cool action sequences. It's good. It's good enough to get a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, it's a fun movie all in all. Jackie Brown, I think that's a pretty good Tarantino movie. Not one of his best.
That's one of the only ones I haven't seen.
It's good. I definitely recommend it. I wouldn't say it's one of his best, but it's good. Then just another couple here, and then I'm done. Bronson. I wanted to see this for years, but it feels a bit try hard. Like in that sense, like it feels like, you know, the way there's like artsy for the sake of being artsy.
Yep.
There's just so much about that in Bronson. Like there's just so much about that. Tom Hardy was great in it, though, just to say.
Well, Tom Hardy's just a great actor to begin with. You know, I don't feel like I should have to worry about, oh God, Tom Hardy's in this, it's gonna be bad. You know what I mean? It's just he's such an incredibly talented actor in every role that I've seen him in. He's really brilliant.
And yeah, exactly. Last thing then. Okay, here the Matrix. Well, now the quadrilogy, and I went to see the most recent one in theaters, and
that was bad.
It was bad. It was really bad.
Bloody awful.
I mean, I kind of expected it because Matrix Revolutions isn't very good, but like, I mean, generally, I think like, I didn't like the way like everyone loves the Matrix for being like, oh, so deep and all that shit. I don't know. I just find it kind of stupid, like how deep it tries to be, and then it just has like all these like ridiculous fucking parts of dialogue and just like, oh, it's the I know kung fu guy trying to fucking be so deep and philosophical and shit. It's so stupid.
It's just, it feels so forced. Like, obviously the first Matrix is good, but I do think it is a little overrated in the grand scheme of things. It feels really philosophical, like, and of course everybody talks about 1999 being the year of like philosophical films because of Y2K or whatever. I just feel like it was way too on the nose. It just really was out of all films that I've seen that tries to be like philosophical, that's just like the worst effort because it's like so in your face. Even the new one just feels like so fake and superficial. It's not like subtle, or it's like the writing in the Matrix, it's not the best, but hey, at least there's some cool action sequences, and that's really what keeps the butts in the seats.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I like the first two Matrix movies for the fact that they're just really fun, like, sci-fi action movies, but, like, just the fact that that they just kind of try way too hard to be philosophical, and it just kind of turns me off, especially in the new one. The new one tried way too hard to be meta. Like, no thanks.
Far harder than the first one, for God's sakes.
Literally. Oh, well, yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna waste more runtime on Letterboxd reviews.
I'll quickly chime in. Also mention Dancer in the Dark and say that Bjork is a fucking incredible actress.
It's a bummer she's not a good musician, though.
Oh, what the fuck?
Hot take out of nowhere, I know.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
We're not going there, though. We're not going there.
We're not going there now. We're not going there now. Cut him off. End podcast. Okay. You have any more questions?
I think I'm good.
All right. Baz, do you have anything else to say?
Honestly, thanks for having me on. I had a fucking blast. Everybody that's still here listening, it would mean a lot if you'd subscribe to my channel. I make some cool stuff. And I'm just really excited to see how the rest of this year plays out. I've had a really good start. It's been a lot better than I thought it would. So just hoping to keep that going for the time being.
Of course. And thank you very much for coming on, Baz. It was a pleasure having you back on again.
Thank you so much, man.
Cheers. Have a good one, guys.
We hope to have you back on soon.
Sounds great. I would totally not be opposed.
Exactly. All right. So, thank you all so much for checking out today's interview with BAZZREVIEWS. We really hope that you enjoyed. Of course, necessary links in the description will be to Baz's channel, as well as our own individual channels and our Album of the Year pages, and of course our Patreon is in the description, as well as our Discord server.
Go follow and subscribe to them. Go follow and subscribe.
Of course.
These guys are great.
Thank you very much. Shameless plugs out of the way. I've been MickyT.
I've been Nostalgia.
Bye.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Hasta la vista, baby.